Tyler Perry wasn't just a friend to Harry and Meghan, he was their emergency exit. It's their Hollywood lifeline when the royal structure they once inhabited collapsed around them. He opened up his heavily secured Beverly Hills estate, offering them what Buckingham Palace never could: complete privacy, security, comfort, and a safe haven where they could stay with their son Archie. He would later even become the godfather to their daughter, Lilibet. That level of support goes far beyond typical friendship. It represents a sacred trust. Meghan ensured the public knew exactly how much he meant to them. Every scene in their Netflix series, every mention on podcasts, every public thank you was carefully crafted to portray Perry as their hero, their protector, their guardian angel. But that carefully constructed image has now unraveled. The man who once shielded them from the world has ignited a reality check that has Harry scrambling to fly back to the UK and Meghan acting like none of it ever happened. This isn't just a falling out. Perry didn't simply distance himself. He came with receipts. What was once thought to be a shelter turned out to be a strategic headquarters. Inside those peaceful Montecito walls, there were late-night PR drills, interview prep sessions, and reportedly over 17 hours of recorded conversations. Meghan and Harry weren't just grateful guests. They were orchestrating their post-royal narrative, fully aware of how every sigh, every tear, every meaningful look would be interpreted on camera. Behind the scenes, sources claim Perry witnessed everything, not just the polished public-facing moments, but the raw, unfiltered reality. The behind-closed-door arguments over how much to reveal. The cold strategic decisions about who to distance themselves from, who to blame, and how best to position themselves as victims of a cold and calculating institution. And that's where the story turns darker, because those recordings reportedly contain moments Meghan never thought would resurface. When news broke that Perry had been hit with a $260 million lawsuit from actor Derek Dixon, everything shifted. Suddenly, Perry was no longer untouchable. He was exposed. And in Hollywood, vulnerability spreads fast. Meghan's reaction was swift and unmistakable. She began erasing Perry from her public life. Photos disappeared from social media. Mentions of Perry as Lilibet's godfather were deleted. Public tributes were quietly archived. Her team moved with the speed of a presidential scandal response team. But Perry didn't build a billion-dollar entertainment empire by being naive. He saw this kind of betrayal coming. Buried deep in the fine print of the residency agreement that Meghan and Harry signed was a clause giving Perry full legal authority to tell his side of the story. And now he's exercising that right. The first leaked recording was only a preview, and it hit hard. Meghan allegedly discussing how to engineer public sympathy. Harry expressing frustration with Netflix's demands, and insiders say it's just the beginning. Perry reportedly has everything: video, transcripts, annotated conversations, all documenting just how calculated the Sussex's Hollywood transformation really was. The consequences are already unfolding. Netflix, which originally awarded the couple a reported $100 million contract, has revised that figure down to just $20 million, and even that's now at risk. Their deals are nearing expiration. Executives are frustrated by low viewership and underwhelming content performance. Behind the scenes, Meghan and Harry are in crisis mode. They've cut staff, reduced their PR team, and even let go of the elite crisis managers who helped shape their public image in the first place. This isn't a strategic pivot, it's survival. Their Hollywood royalty dream is collapsing. And the same man who helped them escape the British monarchy may now be the one to bring down their entire post-royal empire. Because in Hollywood, loyalty comes with an expiration date. And for Harry and Meghan, that expiration passed the moment they deleted Perry from their narrative. Back in Montecito, the walls are closing in fast. What once felt like a fairy tale escape is now a financial ticking time bomb. The mansion alone is a major burden, $14.65 million for the property. Nearly $300,000 annually in taxes. An additional $2 million a year for round-the-clock security, staff salaries, luxury maintenance, and endless aesthetic upgrades. It's a monthly financial hemorrhage that would scare even seasoned moguls. And the income? It's vanishing. Their Spotify deal is gone. Netflix is wavering. Arquelle, their production company, is bleeding money. Once eager executives are looking for exits. Former investors are witnessing the collapse of public interest in real time. Donations to the Arquelle Foundation have plummeted by nearly 30% in just 1 year. More alarmingly, the unrestricted grants the funds they can freely spend have fallen even faster. In the nonprofit world, that's not a red flag. It's a full-blown emergency. Prestigious events have dried up. High-paying speaking gigs are being canceled. Meghan and Harry aren't seen as thought leaders anymore. They're viewed as reputational risks. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere is bleak. Staff morale is plummeting. Those not already laid off are either doubling down on airtight NDAs or quietly preparing their exit strategies. The home that once buzzed with assistants, chefs, stylists, nannies, and publicists is now filled with tension and paranoia. Insiders describe whispered conversations, emergency Zoom calls, and job descriptions being revised to include non-disclosure clauses thicker than film scripts. Despite all this, Meghan and Harry are clinging to what remains of their media narrative. Meghan's upcoming lifestyle show, With Love, Meghan, was designed to be her glamorous reintroduction to the public, a soft-focus return to form. But test screenings reportedly bombed. Viewers weren't buying it. Critics called it flat, insincere, and emotionally disconnected. The La Croisette cookware gleamed, the kitchen sparkled, but the entire atmosphere felt cold. Her podcast deal with Lemonada Media, once hyped for a major launch, has now been quietly pushed to next year. Officially, it's due to scheduling. Unofficially, sources say brands are hesitant to associate with Meghan during a full-blown PR implosion. Even more damning is what's happening behind closed doors in the entertainment industry. Multiple producers and streaming platforms are now pulling out of Sussex-related projects, not because of budgets, but because of the toxicity surrounding their brand. One Netflix partner reportedly canceled a pitch after hearing about Perry's next possible leak. Another investor was overheard saying, "I'm not touching anything with their name on it." But perhaps the most revealing moment came in a podcast interview when Meghan was asked how she'd like to change public perception of herself. Her response, "I'd ask people to tell the truth. No reflection, no accountability. Just more finger pointing." That mindset, the belief that the public is wrong, not hers, what's transforming Meghan from a sympathetic figure into a punchline. And that mindset, more than any recording or financial record, may be the greatest threat to their future. You can recover from a lost deal. You can rebuild after a PR blunder. But when you lose the ability to understand how people really see you and refuse to confront that truth, there's no fixing that. Especially when your brand was built entirely on controlling the narrative. Especially when your only product is the story you tell about yourself. Okay. And especially when someone like Tyler Perry now holds 17 hours of raw, unedited footage that could destroy every carefully curated image you've created. Harry's retreat was quiet, but not quiet enough. A late-night flight booked under an alias, a private jet chartered in secret, and an emergency plan filed for return to the UK. No press release, no entourage. Just Harry, slipping out of the California bubble like a man escaping a fire. 'Cause that's exactly what this is, a five-alarm inferno threatening to incinerate everything they've built. Insiders say the decision wasn't calculated, was panic. A late-night red alert meeting following Perry's first leak, followed by frantic phone calls to former contacts back in Britain. Not to reconnect with family, but to survive the fallout. Harry's not returning as a prince, he's returning as a liability. The man who burned every royal bridge is now crawling back across the ashes, not seeking forgiveness, but bracing for impact. Meanwhile, Meghan remains in California, holding on to what's left of her crumbling empire. But it's not just her reputation that's in free fall, it's her finances. Without new contracts or revenue streams, the money is drying up. The luxurious life they built, the mansion, the security, the stylists. The constant brand upkeep, it's a glittering skyscraper built on sand. Industry insiders whisper about foreclosure. Montecito neighbors speculate about missed payments and high staff turnover. One entertainment exec called the Sussex brand a cautionary tale. Another said, "It's the fastest fall from grace I've seen in years." And what stings the most? They had it. For a fleeting moment, they had everything: public sympathy, media domination, and global attention. But instead of protecting that momentum, they exploited it. Instead of building something lasting, they leaned into appearances. The Netflix series, the podcast sound bites, the perfectly lit interviews. They weren't telling a story, they were selling one. And eventually, the public stopped buying. What Tyler Perry holds now isn't just leverage as a mirror. Mirror that doesn't show Meghan and Harry as victims, but as co-authors of their downfall.